Today on DC News Now, warmer weather and wind in store today. Meteorologist Damon Matson has your full forecast.
A potential expulsion for Trayon White. Coming up, I'll tell you what the DC Council is considering in their hearing on the council member.
I'm bringing you the latest on the fight over a proposed casino in Northern Virginia.
Then ICE raids happening across the country causing concern for local lawmakers. New policies allowing ICE agents to go into schools and churches. And meet the Maryland activist helping people with disabilities fight for their rights. She's this week's DMV Doer.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Mark Hall. Meteorologist Damon Matson joins us now with the latest check on the forecast. Damon, it's Tuesday. The sun is shining, a little windy, but all in all, a nice start.
Yeah, that's the only thing we have to contend with, thankfully, Mark. We got these warm temperatures once again. We are seeing a good amount of sunshine. So those two factors still looking up for us, but it is going to be about that wind, a little more so, especially as we head later this evening and then into Wednesday. Now, it's been relatively tame with those winds closer to DC overnight last night into this morning, but we are starting to notice a little bit of blustery weather rolling in. Gusts have reached up to 31 miles per hour in the district, over to Annapolis as well. And as you head north into Maryland, you're starting to see a little bit more of those stronger gusts up around 30 miles per hour. Now, it has been out across the mountains overnight last night where things really got nasty. We saw some gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. We still have a gust near 40 near Kaiser at this hour, but thankfully things are even calming down a bit out that way to where wind advisories, high wind warnings, all of those have been allowed to expire. And overall, we haven't really noticed any significant impacts. The power outage numbers out that way, thankfully, have stayed relatively low. But again, we are expecting more wind to come in the next day or so. This afternoon, however, yes, it will be a bit blustery at times, but we are going to see a bit of a lull in the wind, especially later this afternoon. And temperatures, once again, they're going to be reaching up into the lower 50s. So not a bad day overall. However, we'll talk about that increase in the wind that's expected tomorrow and how much longer these warm temperatures will stick around coming up in your full forecast here in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. Well, DC Councilmember Trayon White could be expelled from his seat on council. An expulsion hearing is taking place right now. This comes as White is accused of accepting bribes in exchange for district contracts. DC News Now, Jean-Marie Sissay takes a closer look.
Now, White or someone representing him will have the chance to speak on whether he should or should not keep his seat on the council. And this comes after a recommendation to expel him when an investigation found that White had broke several council codes. Now, back in August, White was arrested for accepting over $150,000 in exchange for extending contracts for the district's violence interruption programs. And the following month, he pled not guilty. Now, a committee was formed to verify the allegations, and a law firm was hired to investigate whether White broke any council codes. And the investigation revealed that he did. Now, the committee recommended White be expelled from the council. Council members decided to move that recommendation forward, and a hearing is happening right now. Now, vote will not happen today, but instead next Tuesday, February 4th. Mayor Muriel Bowser says she believes the council has been transparent this entire process.
Committee and the committee's legal counsel to recommend expulsion. I have to think that the answers about if they believe that the council's rules were violated and the public's trust were violated, then that was compelling.
Now, the expulsion hearing is happening right now. We're going to continue to follow this story and bring you the latest. For now, reporting in the studio, I'm Jean-Marie Sissay, DC News Now.
Jean-Marie, thank you. Well, 3 teenagers are facing charges in connection to a deadly triple shooting in Alexandria last year. It happened on Wythe Street on September 19th. The victim, 25-year-old Quakia Frazier, died at the scene. 2 other people were shot, including a 15-year-old boy. Arlington police say that they worked with the ATF to help connect the suspects in the shooting.
We've been able to take 3 people into custody. These 3 individuals, who are all juveniles, or they were juveniles at the time of the crime, have been charged with multiple violations of code.
Well, the teenagers are 16 and 17 years old. Police also continue to investigate a separate shooting that happened days later where 2 teen boys were shot while sitting in a car. Well, one woman is dead. Another person is hurt after a crash in Arlington last night. Police say 4 cars were part of a crash, including 2 that were waiting by a nearby signal. The woman was turning onto Wilson Boulevard in a white sedan when she was slammed by a pickup truck. One man who witnessed the crash describes what he saw.
I said, oh my God, this guy's got to kill someone. I see him swerve out the way of one car and then he smacks the white car. I just heard a big crash, probably the biggest crash you've ever heard in your life. Like it was almost like a bomb went off.
And the cause of the crash is under investigation. Happening today, Virginia lawmakers are set to vote on a bill that could make way for a casino to be built in Tysons, but not everyone is on board with the plan. Haley Milan spoke with members of a group making their way to Richmond to protest the bill. She has the latest.
Hey, yeah, we were here as the No Casino Fairfax group loaded up on a bus, and they are now making their way to Richmond, hoping to gain the attention of lawmakers to stop some of the momentum behind this project. They say Northern Virginia is not a place for a casino like the one that developers are proposing.
No casino!
Today's vote on the bill is in the Finance and Appropriations Committee in the General Assembly. It would allow a ballot referendum for voters to decide whether a casino should be permitted. The developer is Comstock Companies. They're eyeing a site on Route 7 for the project. It would include an entertainment district and casino. Union groups are aligned with the developer, saying that the economic opportunity that a casino would bring would be great for workers. One civic group, though, commissioned a poll and found that 8 of 10 voters in the county oppose a casino coming to the area. People opposed to the project tell us the jobs it would bring would be great. That's not their issue. They just don't want the culture and the social impact a casino would have.
5,000 union jobs coming to our county would be life-changing.
You have people that have lost money, that are angry, that get in a car in the morning when kids are loading onto school buses and there's road rage, or they've been drinking all night.
The Fairfax County Board of Supervisors have made it clear they did not ask the General Assembly for this authority. In Reston, Haley Milan, DC News Now.
Haley, thank you. Immigration policies are going through major changes under the Trump administration. Administration now allows immigration and customs enforcement to make arrests in sensitive locations. This includes places of worships and school. They are also using military planes to deport undocumented migrants, and the Trump administration has also expanded expedited removal. That means ICE can deport people without appearing before an immigration judge. All right, Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown releasing a new guidance for local and state police for immigration enforcement. Brown says that these new guidance rules are to help police and deputies to comply with federal and state laws while protecting individual rights. They include not sharing personal information with federal immigration authorities without a warrant, and not asking about immigration status during routine police work unless it's relevant to the criminal investigation. Sad news out of Virginia. Two children are dead after getting sick with the flu. Health officials say that this marks the first 2 pediatric influenza deaths in the state this flu season. Officials say that one child between the ages of 5 and 12 is from Eastern Virginia. They say that the other is a teenager from Central Virginia. Virginia Health Department says that anyone older than 6 months should get a flu vaccine every year. Well, we continue to shine the spotlight on people in the region who are helping others. And today, we introduce you to a woman who is fighting for the rights of people of all ages with disabilities. Meet Carrie Gray. She is this week's DMV doer. Gray is the executive director of Named Advocates, the National Alliance of Melanin Disabled Advocates. They fight for the rights of people of color with disabilities.
About 3.8 is the unemployment rate across the United States, about 6.8 when you get to people with disabilities, and when you get to Black disabled folks, it goes up to 12.4.
Carrie lives the journey. She is an amputee. She lost her leg as a child after a battle with cancer.
It is the cultural disconnect, and also the treatment of the communities that we're seeing is not getting better until we actively make it better.
For the past 5 years, Carrie's been pushing for disability disability justice for what she describes as people living at the intersection of identities.
You're dealing with the idea of our Black brothers with dreads who looking amazing, doing their thing, and they in a wheelchair, you know, and they got hearing aids. And it's just a combination of folks not knowing how to navigate that can often lead to being left behind. And so we want to address that, not just from an economic standpoint, but also what happens in scientific research and healthcare.
Named Advocates recently partnered with California-based philanthropy group Chan Zuckerberg Initiative to help broaden their reach.
This is only going to lead to more research on how we can do this work better.
Carrie is optimistic the collaboration will help them connect with more advocacy groups and also help change the narrative of the way people with disabilities are viewed and treated.
Our ultimate goal is, how do we get the cost of medication down? How do we get more people access to the right doctors? And that comes through building these relationships, hearing people's stories, seeing the gaps, and leaving space for that. And so I'm really excited about it because I think we're very positioned to bring people together in that way.